Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. Your life will never change until you decide to put yourself first. Too many people spend their days trying to fix everybody else, trying to be what everyone expects them to be, and in the process, they forget about the most important person in their life, themselves. Your breakthrough begins when you realize that you are not here to please the crowd. You are here to fulfill your God-given purpose. Your life will never truly change until you decide to put yourself first. For so long, many of us are taught that the right thing to do is to always be there for others, to make sure everyone else is happy, and to sacrifice our own needs for the sake of peace. We grew up believing that saying yes to everybody is kindness, that putting our dreams aside is humility, and that being the last priority is somehow a badge of honor. But the truth is, all that self-neglect eventually catches up to you. You can't keep giving the best parts of yourself away to people who don't pour anything back into you. At some point, you have to stop and ask yourself, when was the last time I did something just for me? When was the last time I invested time, effort, or even resources into my own growth? When was the last time I made myself a priority instead of an afterthought? The honest answer for many people is, I don't even remember. And that's the problem. Putting yourself first is not about arrogance, selfishness, or pushing people away. It's about survival. It's about understanding that you cannot fulfill your purpose if you are constantly depleted. When you put yourself first, you give yourself permission to rest without guilt, to work on your dreams without apology, and to protect your mental and emotional space from unnecessary chaos. The people who love you and truly care about you will understand that your self-care isn't an act of abandonment, it's an act of preservation. You can't be the best parent, partner, friend, or leader if you are running on fumes. You can't inspire others when you've lost inspiration for yourself. A breakthrough is not something that just falls into your lap while you're busy doing everything for everyone else. Breakthroughs happen when you create space for them, when you clear out the noise, the distractions, and the obligations that keep you too busy to notice the opportunities around you. Some of the most successful people in the world reach their turning point not because they had more talent or luck, but because they made a decision to finally focus on themselves. They stopped saying yes to things that drained them. They stopped surrounding themselves with people who didn't respect their boundaries. They started making choices based on what aligned with their vision instead of what kept others comfortable. When you decide to put yourself first, you start walking differently, talking differently, and thinking differently. You begin to filter your time and energy the way a jeweler protects diamonds, carefully, intentionally, and without apology. You stop feeling guilty for saying no. You start recognizing that every yes you give to something meaningless is a no you're giving to something that could change your life. And as you make these shifts, you'll notice something powerful. Your confidence grows, your peace deepens, and your goals start to feel closer than ever before. It takes courage to step into this mindset because people will resist it. They're used to the version of you who is always available, always agreeable, and always self-sacrificing. When you change the rules, they might get upset. They might call you selfish. They might try to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. But understand this, anyone who is truly in your corner will cheer you on when you make moves to improve your life. The ones who have a problem with it are usually the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries. You can't pour from an empty cup, and yet so many people try to live their lives doing exactly that. They wake up tired, go through the day drained, and still somehow feel obligated to give every ounce of energy they have left to everyone else except themselves. The truth is, you cannot function at your best when you are constantly running on low. Your body, your mind, and your spirit all have limits, and when you push beyond those limits without replenishment, you start to break down in ways you don't even notice at first. You become less focused, less creative, more irritable, and more doubtful of yourself, it's not because you lack ability. It's because you've neglected to invest in yourself. That investment is more than just money. It's time, attention, rest, and intentional growth. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury. It's a necessity. If your phone battery drops to 5%, you don't keep scrolling endlessly without charging it because you know it's going to shut off. But somehow we treat ourselves worse than a piece of technology. We expect to keep going, to keep producing, to keep showing up for everyone else without taking the time to recharge our own battery. And when we finally do burn out, we wonder why life feels overwhelming, why opportunities pass us by, and why our dreams seem stuck in the same place year after year. The reason's simple: you can't move forward if you don't have the energy to move at all. Self-investment is not about being selfish. It's about being wise enough to understand that your effectiveness in every area of life depends on how well you take care of yourself. That means eating foods that fuel your body instead of destroy it. That means giving yourself to sleep your mind needs to think clearly and make good decisions. That means setting aside time for things that inspire you, whether that's reading a book, learning a new skill, or simply sitting in silence to reflect. It also means saying no to things that consume your time without contributing to your growth. Not every invitation, not every request, and not every obligation deserves a yes. When you take the time to build your skills and your knowledge, you put yourself in a position where you can recognize opportunities when they appear. Many people miss life-changing chances because they are too exhausted or too distracted to even notice them. But when you've been investing in yourself, when you're learning, practicing, and sharpening your abilities, you're ready. You can step into that opportunity fully prepared. And that's often what separates those who succeed from those who only dream. There is also a mental shift that happens when you focus on replenishing yourself. You begin to value your time differently. You start to realize that every moment spent pouring into yourself pays you back in ways you can't even measure. You feel stronger, more grounded, and more capable of handling life's challenges. You start operating from a place of abundance instead of scarcity. You're no longer constantly running behind, trying to catch up. You're leading your own pace in your own lane with the confidence that you have what it takes to keep going. The most powerful breakthroughs often come in seasons when you are fully present, fully energized, and fully committed to your own development. You're no longer reacting to life. You're creating it. You're no longer just surviving, you're building something meaningful. And that only happens when you stop trying to pour from an empty cup and start making sure that cup is full before you pour it in anyone else's. You have to stop seeking validation from people who don't understand your journey. Too many people are stuck in a cycle of trying to impress, convince, or win the approval of others who will never see their worth no matter what they do. The danger in this is that you start living your life according to other people's expectations instead of your own purpose. You begin making choices that look good to the outside world but feel empty inside. You post things on social media not because you truly want to share it, but because you want likes and comments to reassure you that you're doing well. But here's the truth. External approval is one of the most unreliable sources of confidence you can have, because the same people who praise you today can criticize you tomorrow. Your breakthrough begins when you realize that you don't need applause to move forward. You don't need a round of cheers every time you take a step toward your goals. You don't need a panel of judges to stamp your life with approval before you can feel good about yourself. Some people will never clap for you, and it has nothing to do with your talent, your worth, or your potential. Sometimes it's jealousy. Sometimes it's misunderstanding. And sometimes it's simply because they can't see the vision you're working toward. If they've never walked your path, They can't understand the steps you have to take. And if they can't understand it, their opinion should not be the measure you use to decide whether or not to keep going. When you stop living for applause and start living for progress, everything changes. You shift from constantly asking, what will people think, to asking, will this move me forward? That small change in thinking can completely transform your life. It frees you from the pressure of performing for an audience and allows you to focus on genuine growth. You start to find fulfillment in small wins that nobody else sees, like finishing a chapter of a book you've been writing, mastering a skill you've been learning, or even just sticking to a commitment you made to yourself. These victories might not get hundreds of likes online, but they are building the foundation for the life you want. Validation addiction is a real thing, and the only cure is to learn how to validate yourself. This means celebrating your progress without needing someone else to tell you it's impressive. It means trusting your decisions without running them by 5 different people first. It means feeling proud of who you are becoming, even if nobody else notices yet. Once you have this kind of self-assurance, you become unstoppable because your motivation no longer depends on the unpredictable reactions of others. It's also important to remember that the people whose opinions matter the most are often not the loudest ones. The loudest voices are usually the critics and doubters, but the people who genuinely believe in you might be quietly cheering you on in the background. Learn to value quiet support over public approval. Public applause fades quickly, but genuine belief in your potential will carry you through the tough seasons. Every great dreamer, leader, and achiever you've ever admired had to stop seeking validation at some point. They had to walk a lonely road, trusting their instincts and believing in their vision before the world caught up. If they had waited for universal approval, they will still be waiting today. That same truth applies to you. Your vision is yours, and it's not for everyone to understand or approve of. The sooner you accept that, the faster you'll move toward the life you are meant to live. You must protect your energy like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Energy is not just about physical strength. It's your emotional state, your mental clarity, your motivation, and your overall sense of peace. When your energy is low, it doesn't matter how many opportunities are in front of you. You won't have the strength or the focus to take advantage of. That's why one of the most important decisions you can make in your life is to be intentional about where your energy goes and who gets access to it. Not everyone should be allowed into your personal space, because not everyone will handle it with care. Some people in your life will encourage you, uplift you, and inspire you to go further. Others will drain you, discourage you, and make you doubt yourself. The problem is that many of us spend too much time with the second group, thinking it's just a part of life to carry other people's negativity. But every time you give energy to those who constantly take without giving back, you are robbing yourself of the fuel you need for your own breakthrough. That's why boundaries are not optional, they are essential. Boundaries are the guardrails that keep you from crashing into emotional burnout. They are the way you teach people how to treat you and how to value your time and energy. Protecting your energy also means being mindful of what you allow into your mind. The conversations you engage in, the content you consume, and the environments you spend time in all affect your energy levels. If you're constantly surrounded by gossip, pessimism, or chaos, you will eventually absorb that same energy. On the other hand, if you choose to be in spaces filled with positivity, ambition, and growth, you'll find yourself feeling more motivated and capable. Energy is contagious, and you have to choose wisely what you catch. There's also a level of self-awareness that comes with protecting your energy. You have to recognize your own limits and know when it's time to step back, recharge, and reset. Too often, we push ourselves past the point of exhaustion because we feel guilty for taking a break. But rest is not weakness. Rest is strategy. Even the most powerful engines in the world need maintenance, and so do you. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is to stop, breathe, and give yourself permission to recover. Part of protecting your energy is learning to let go of people and situations that no longer align with where you're going. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough about yourself to not let someone else's negativity or lack of vision derail your path. You can still love people from a distance. You can still wish them well without allowing them constant access to your thoughts and emotions. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every problem is yours to solve. When you begin to protect your energy, you'll notice that your life feels lighter. You'll have more mental clarity, more emotional stability, and more physical strength to pour into the things that truly matter. You'll also begin to attract people and opportunities that match your new frequency because you're no longer giving your best self to things that drain you. You start making decisions with more confidence because your mind isn't cluttered with unnecessary noise. Protecting your energy is not about shutting the world out. It's about choosing the parts of the world that are worth letting in. Don't compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20, because comparison is one of the fastest ways to lose motivation and confidence. It's easy to look at someone who is ahead of you and feel like you're failing, but what you're not seeing is the years of effort, mistakes, and setbacks they had to overcome to get there. Social media has made this problem even worse because it shows you the highlight reel of other people's lives while hiding the struggles and hard work behind the scenes. You end up measuring your beginning against someone else's peak, and that's never a fair comparison. Every journey is different, and every success story has its own pace. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you start rushing your own growth. You take shortcuts that don't serve you. You abandon your own plans to copy what someone else is doing, and you stop appreciating the progress you've already made. But real success comes from patience and consistency, not from trying to skip steps. If you plant a seed today, you don't dig it up tomorrow because you saw someone else's tree fully growing. You water it, you nurture it, and you give it the time it needs to grow. The same is true for your goals and dreams. They need space, time, and dedication to develop into something great. Comparison also distracts you from your own strengths. When you focus on what someone else has, you're not noticing the unique abilities and resources you already possess. You might have qualities that others would love to have, but you can't see them because you're too busy wishing for someone else's life. The truth is, no one else can live your story the way you can, and your path is designed specifically for you. That means some things will happen faster for you than they do for others, and some things will take longer, and that's okay. It's important to remember that just because someone is ahead of you in one area doesn't mean they're ahead of you in life. They might have success in business, but struggle in relationships. They might have financial freedom, but lack inner peace. You can't judge your worth based on one chapter of someone else's story. The only real competition you should have is with the person you were yesterday. If you're growing, learning, and improving day by day, you're winning. When you focus on your own lane, you'll find that the journey becomes more fulfilling. You'll start noticing the small victories, things that may seem insignificant to others but mean everything to you. Maybe it's the confidence you've gained in speaking up for yourself, the discipline you built in sticking to your routine, or the courage you found to take a risk you used to avoid. These moments matter, and they are signs that you're moving in the right direction. Another danger of comparison is that it can make you bitter toward people who have done nothing wrong. You might start resenting their success, thinking it somehow takes away from yours, when in reality there's enough room for everyone to win. Someone else's success does not limit your potential. It's simply proof that success is possible. Instead of letting it discourage you, let it inspire you. Learn from those who are ahead of you, but don't try to copy their exact steps. Use their journey as a source of ideas, not as a blueprint for your life. Believe in the person you see in the mirror, because that belief is the foundation for everything you will ever accomplish. Without it, every goal feels heavier, every challenge feels impossible, and every setback feels permanent. Self-belief is not about arrogance. It's about recognizing that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of the life you want to create. Too many people wait for someone else to confirm their value before they start moving toward their dreams. But if you keep waiting for that external validation, you'll wait forever. The truth is, no one can believe in you the way you can believe in yourself, because no one else truly knows the battles you fought, the strength you've shown, or the potential you carry. Believing in yourself means trusting your abilities even when the evidence isn't visible yet. It's having the courage to take a step forward when the path ahead looks uncertain. It's choosing to keep going even when doubt creeps in, because you know that growth often happens in the moments when you're uncomfortable. Every person who has achieved something great has had to push past moments of fear, rejection, and self-doubt. They didn't have all the answers when they started. They simply had enough belief to keep taking the next step. This kind of belief is built through action. The more you keep promises to yourself, the more trust you develop in your own word. If you say you're going to do something and you follow through, even on the small things, you strengthen your confidence. On the other hand, when you repeatedly break promises to yourself, you weaken your trust in your own abilities, and that makes it harder to believe in your potential. That's why discipline and self-respect go hand in hand with self-belief. You can't expect to feel confident in your future if you're constantly undermining yourself in the present. It's also important to speak to yourself with the same encouragement you give to someone you care about. Many people are their own harshest critics, tearing themselves down with negative self-talk and then wondering why they struggle to feel confident. The words you say to yourself shape the way you see yourself, and the way you see yourself shapes the way you move through the world. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, your mind will start finding evidence to prove you right. But if you tell yourself you are capable, strong, and ready, your actions will start aligning with that belief. Belief doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It means you trust yourself to handle them. There will be days when you feel unmotivated, moments when you question your decisions, and seasons where nothing seems to be going right. That's when your self-belief is tested the most. It's easy to believe in yourself when everything is working out, but the real strength comes from believing in yourself when everything feels uncertain. When you hold on to that belief during the hard times, you build resilience, and resilience is what turns setbacks into comebacks. Surrounding yourself with people who believe in you can also help strengthen your own belief. When you're in an environment where others see your potential, it's easier to see it in yourself. But remember, even with all the support in the world, you still have to do the work of believing in yourself. No one can carry that responsibility for you. You have to look in the mirror every day and decide that you are worth the effort, worth the risk, and worth the journey ahead.